This is Selling Houston, P.O.V. I have
Ebony Royal.
And Aisha Shelton, but why you always get to kick it off?
Bernard Lewis, because I'm the boss.
At least,
who you the boss of?
Right. And at least you said your last name this week.
Yeah, Bernard Lewis.
Okay, you did good.
Oh, you didn't say your name?
I introduced you guys first, and then I introduced myself.
Well, first of all, let's give a big shout out because we do have a third guest today, and we didn't last week. Just saying.
I found her under the chair.
Yes.
Let me tell y'all something. I said Bernard is the only person shady. Did we have this conversation?
I recall. Episode, Selling Houston, episode 1.
Okay,
if you go to YouTube, the archives on YouTube, you'll see.
You will see.
Do you guys recall that?
Yes.
I recall?
All right.
I still love you, braids.
All right, braids.
Okay.
I know. So Aisha and I are.
The two co-hosts got the braids today.
Yes. It was not planned.
It was. That's so
At
funny.
least I can tell y'all apart.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. This is my first time having braids since Janet Jackson and Poetic Justice with the Dookie braids.
That's been some time ago.
Yeah. So this is an adjustment.
But how is that
Thank
possible?
you.
You're only 22.
Let them know.
Period.
Let them know.
Period.
So what's the new chatter here? I know before we talked about pain points, we talked about iBuyers, but what's going well?
Ooh, what's going well?
I like to hear from Aisha since she didn't make it to the last episode. Well, I had someone watching. They were like, the other lady wasn't there. It was just 2 people.
The other lady. Okay. So what's going well? What's going well is the market for sellers, for sure, right?
Yeah.
So buyers are having a time, but sellers are really winning. They are extracting equity at astronomical rates. And
There was a post about that.
Yes.
Sellers made more selling their house than they did in 1 year's salary.
Yes, they made more in equity gains.
Equity gains. Okay.
Yes, they have made more in equity gains over the last 12 months.
Yep.
Than
they have in their regular salary.
In their regular salary. So that's going well. Clients are happy with that for sure. That's going well. What else is going well? Culture. Somebody talked about team culture and how important that is. And I'm really starting to feel the team culture vibes. And so that's going well too.
Yeah, I that is my job to be the team lead and to kind of take over. So I definitely understand that culture is everything, especially in a sales environment.
Yep.
Not having culture could be really horrible.
It could, yes. I mean, competitive in a negative way, dog world, but that's not the culture that we have at Braden at all.
No, not in a brokerage and not in a team setting either.
And not in a team setting.
I 1000% agree with you. And I know that that's something that we do from team outings to just gatherings to just making sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And support. That's what people want to feel when they're joining a brokerage and joining a team. So for
sure. So what's going well for Bernard Lewis?
What's going well? Last year I had a huge focus on buyers. Mm-hmm. And out of the buyers, probably 95% new construction.
Yep.
This year things have shifted gears where last year I probably did 2 listings out of 31 deals, 2 were listings.
Okay.
This year alone, this month alone, I have 7 listings.
Ooh, so that is
stuff.
Yeah,
that is wonderful.
This month, actively, not including the ones I've already closed out. It's been a transformation, if you will.
That is incredible. and for you newer people to real estate, I will say that's where you want to be. You want to be on the listing side because you tell me, Bernard, why do you want to be
on the listing side? But I think too, to understand how to support a seller, you must understand how the buyer world works.
Absolutely.
Right. You need to understand
I agree with that.
Products and different areas.
But what is the benefit of being a listing agent?
You're not running around the world.
Okay.
You're not running around town. And most of the work can be done virtually versus having to be on site at a certain time, a certain day.
Absolutely.
And all the people come to you instead of,
I was just going to say that, like buyer generating leads.
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same. I mean, what I mean is like you selling, all these people are selling a house. If there's 40,000 HAR realtors, those are, you have whole sales force out there.
That's correct. It's coming to you. You bring the inventory on the market and they come to you.
Yeah.
No, I love it. But I can say, you're probably going to be like, really? I get a thrill out of helping buyers.
I love that.
I do too.
I love that.
Thrill.
I do
so,
too.
yes, I want listings, but I still want to help buyers and I still want to make sure that I'm abreast and understand what's going on with the market. Because who knows, like if you just focus on listings, you may not understand what the changes are. Mm-hmm. So, and I love it. And then of course, I support my team on their endeavors with helping write contracts and just knowing like, hey, well, if you do it like this, you can do it like that. And we've been having some success on a lot of resales lately. So
yeah, that's excellent.
Well, that's
excellent.
Excited.
So much good. What's going good, Ab?
Oh man, I'm really excited to see what the new agents are doing. Those are
the new agents of the Braden Real Estate Group.
The new agents of the Braden Real Estate Group. Thank you for correcting me.
New agents where?
It's very true. In general, right? But they are really doing a lot of deals. Yeah. I mean, they're getting listings. Mm-hmm. They have buyers. Just to see them moving and shaking out there is really heartwarming for me. Yeah. Then, of course, my business has picked up. I've been able to support them and their growth and handle my business. So things are going well.
That's what I like to hear. And I honestly feel like that's an excellent segue into brokerage and how to choose a brokerage, right? So we graduate from... Do we graduate? We graduate from real estate school.
It should be a celebration.
You finish real estate school and you think like...
You finish real estate school not knowing anything. Let's be honest.
Knowing how to pass the test.
Knowing how to pass the test.
They teach you nothing about what do you call it? Realestating?
Realestating. In these real estate streets. But then you have this really big decision to make. You have to decide which brokerage you're going to go to. That's right. And there's a lot to understand and decipher. Ebony being our new agent, what is the name of the title? Advisor. Certainly has something to share, but also us who have been to more than one brokerage have something to share about our journey.
Sure.
And perhaps there is a new agent out there that is trying to figure out what move to make.
Yeah.
Or you are currently with the brokerage and you need to figure out which direction to go in, how you choose your brokerage.
But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna use her term. So let's be clear.
Okay.
Not all brokerages just take all agents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because in school they say you just go and you interview them.
Yes.
You do.
So
that's a part of it too.
Yes. There are some brokerages that it's a two-way street. Mm-hmm. You're interviewing them and they're interviewing you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think, that's important to say.
So let's dispel some myths and give advice about, what to do, which direction to go in, how to choose a brokerage when you're recently and fresh out of real estate school, what you should be looking for and what you can expect.
Oh, I love that.
Cool.
Okay. You want to start?
Let's do it. I don't.
So for me, I'll start.
Yes. Okay.
I'll start. So for me, when I was in school, I was so excited. I was taking the test, passing the classes. I was like, look, Mom, I'm doing it. So after that, I had my eye on a certain brokerage that was closer to where I lived at the time. And just so happened they had came and did a presentation. Mm-hmm. And at that time, it wasn't just a random person from the brokerage. It was the actual broker owner. So I was like, oh, you're already on my list, and then I was able to kind of hear what they had to say. Mm-hmm. And I ended up joining that brokerage right after I passed the test, like within minutes from passing the test. Yeah. I decided to go with them.
So this isn't a paid advertisement, but I think all of us went to Champion School of Real Estate, right?
We did.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So if you are getting your license in the city of Houston, everybody that is licensed, and when I say everybody, I don't mean every single person, but I mean like most people go to Champion School of Real Estate because you get it done, right? So you can get your real estate license from the internet.
Sure.
You can get your real estate license from all kinds of different places, and they can be cheap, $200, $300, $500.
Look.
But will you get it done is
right.
the question. And anytime somebody asks me, and I think that's probably the same for you guys, what should I do? I want to get my real estate license in Houston. Go to Champion School of Real Estate.
That's funny because I don't tell many people this, but I actually went for my real estate license in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the whole $200 thing.
Boom, that part.
And I did not complete at all. So had I completed, I would have now been licensed, 12 years at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Ish. So I'm glad you brought that up because I would have never thought about to bring it up.
So if you have a question, I want to get my real estate license, what should I do? If you're in Houston and you're selling in Houston, this is Selling Houston P.O.V.
Selling Houston P.O.V.
Champion School of Real Estate.
Well, Texas in general, I would say this is definitely not a paid sponsored ad, but Champion School of Real Estate operates in both Houston, Dallas, and Austin.
Okay. So why though? And I think that's important to tell people why Champion School of Real Estate over the online courses or the self-paced courses.
Ebony goes.
Yeah. well, I mean, I think they have a long history and track record, in the real estate world. But they offer online. They offer in person. Mm-hmm. They offer
the hybrid.
The hybrid, both. Right. So I think that they just offer a lot of variety. And I mean, I will say the instructors are awesome.
They are. Every single one of them.
Every one of them are awesome.
They've been around for many, many years. Yeah. So they're just a treasure trove of knowledge. Personalities on like 100.
Yeah.
There might be one or two people that are just as dry as toast, but for the most part, they're all comedians.
The others make
they do.
They are they all have great personalities, mm-hmm. and they've been with Champion School of Real Estate for quite some time as well. And so they just really give you a good foundation. Now, let's be clear, you're going to forget everything that you learn in real estate school. Taking the real estate exam is just like studying. You take it all in and then you throw it all up on the test. You pass, mm-hmm. right? Or you hope you pass, and then you keep it moving. And then there's so much more to learn out here in this world.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the misconception or the things that they really aren't prepared for as a new agent. What are the things that they're really not prepared for in school?
I'll start with the first thing is not knowing what to say to a client.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows what to say. Nobody knows what to do. It's just like, I am licensed.
Right.
Now what?
Now what?
Like real estate. I'm using, I think that is an Aisha Shelton.
Yes.
We're going to coin it for her. Aisha Shelton 2022.
Realestating.
Realestating. So yeah, I mean, not knowing what to say or what to do. Right. And I think most brokerages, they when they get licensed, people, they say, well, we offer so much training, this and that. And they do, right? Most brokerages do.
They do.
But their version of training is how to do a contract.
Well, but okay. Also, there is training, plenty of training, lots of training available. You have to take the initiative to go utilize it. And so there's training and then there's training. One of the things that I think is valuable about the training that you do is that it is face-to-face. There's an accountability component to it. And so that's different from, hey, we got 2,700, 500 million videos out here. This is my training. It's available to you, which can be overwhelming. You guys take it and you break it down into the little chunks and you reevaluate your class after each group that comes through to decide what's most valuable. I mean, you're very much intentional about what you put in front of the new agents and what you need to address. There's training, but then there's training.
Yeah. And I will say that another thing about our structure is that we have the ability to be non-structured, meaning that when things come up that the agents are dealing with, so if I'm getting the same question throughout the week, I can, address that in the training versus having to be so structured. We talk about real life situations.
Right. And then you're actively in the field.
And
so
I'm actively.
You can kind of share some best practices from yourself.
Absolutely.
So
and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it all.
What is it? So we got training. And what about contracts? New agent and
deer in the headlights. Deer in the headlights.
Which you should be, because if you don't have experience with it, how are you supposed to know?
But is every contract the same?
Every deal is completely different.
It's not. So, I I tell the new agents, look, how are you going to learn? Go get a client. And I'll walk you through the rest.
Yeah.
Like we can give you a foundation, but no two real estate transactions are identical.
Unfortunately, not.
They're not.
With the regular 9-to-5 job, you usually have the same amount of things. It's the same thing over and over.
Same processes. Yeah. Same. And a very black and white answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with real estate, it could be a whole 360. Like,
we get creative.
Second here.
You have to get very creative. And very solution oriented, right?
Problem solvers.
Let's be clear. Real estate isn't for everybody.
No.
It's not for everybody. Everybody shouldn't do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And you shouldn't. I mean, and sometimes you just have to learn that, right? I can't tell you like real estate is not good for you. You need to go try it out first and then go.
Right.
That wasn't a good fit for me. But you do have to be creative, because you're going to find yourself in a situation as an agent that you have to figure out how to get out of, or figure out the best way to handle it. So when your client is building a new construction house and the wrong material goes into the house, what are you supposed to do? How do you handle that?
Do you proceed?
It depends, right? And I'll tell you, because that's one of the challenges that we're working through right now with the client. And the question is, do you lose the deal because of it? What you have this house under contract for, you will not be able to do that if you cancel this contract now. Is this your forever home? It's these kinds of conversations. So when your client is ready to be done with a contract because they put the wrong this or that in it, you really have to know how to talk them through. Is this a good idea? What other options do you have? Because it's an emotional transaction.
With also showing them that you're advocating for them.
For them.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because by all means, we're licensed realtors, right? We owe them the fiduciary deal, right? We don't work for the builder.
Nope.
We don't work for no builders. Well, you do.
I mean,
okay.
I work for the builder.
But she doesn't, but she does.
Whatever that means.
Both.
All of that.
But no, but yeah, right. We also have to show that, because also people want to know. I just want to know that you have my back.
You have my back,
because that is a big thing.
But that's all of those things are things that you have to navigate, and that you have to learn to navigate, and that's a part of the process. And so you don't want to make costly mistakes with people's time, people's money. And honestly, these are people's lives. You have a big responsibility as a real estate agent.
And I can say that that's one of the things they're not prepared for. I can see that a lot with new agents just going out there and trying to do it sometimes on their own without, talking things through. And they're putting people's livelihood at risk, whether it's their earnest money or, whether they've made some major decisions and now they can't close on the house that they were, trying to buy, and they already sold their other house and they're stuck out. It's important that we are an integral part of people's life.
You have a big job.
It's a big job, and people, a lot of new agents just don't understand that.
And you don't, the training,
it's more than the money. The
training that is required to be a real estate agent is less than the training to get your hair done as a cosmetologist. It's less than, you don't get much. You aren't required. Let me say required to get as much training as other professions. But this is a very important job that really, really carries a lot of weight. And people just getting licenses left and right and out here just doing stuff. find yourself a good brokerage. Find yourself a mentor for sure.
Mentor and or just a coach. Like if you really want to go into something, and I know people that be like, oh, I want to do this Airbnb thing, or I thought about doing it at one point until I realized I don't have the time for it from a management standpoint. But there's coaches out there. There's coaches for everything. Somebody who's been in the game, who has a proven history or track record in bank account to prove that they are successful in that deal. So I do recommend somebody actually hiring someone, because no one has the time, especially someone that's busy. You know, they don't have the time to mentor you for free.
Right.
Unfortunately, somebody's time costs.
Said mentor you for free.
Right. And I was going to say,
because when you hear the word mentor, it's just like, okay,
yeah,
no. Like, no.
That's true.
You know,
but that is,
but
here's the thing. That is another thing that new agents are not prepared for. And it's the money. It's the amount of money that you're going to spend as a real estate agent. They are not prepared for that.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I definitely had a job when I first started.
Because nobody told you. Nobody told us.
It's not a part of school.
Nobody said that after I graduate from this program at the end of the year, I was going to get graduate. It's a graduation, darling.
But you do graduate from Bragg University. We do have a graduation.
Oh,
yeah,
So at BRAG University, there's an entire graduation.
There's an entire graduation.
Interesting. Okay.
It's not the typical graduation,
well,
but it is.
It's an all.
It's a graduation.
Put it on the wall.
Yes, of course.
Oh my!
I don't think I got my certificate. Can you print me one?
You did not attend.
I was one of the OG agents.
Yeah, really. You didn't, and she didn't either.
We didn't get one of those, unfortunately.
So look, I think it would be fun to tell a story of the first lesson that you learned in real estate. One that, kind of hurt a little bit.
Ooh, I'll be happy to talk about that.
Well, you go first then.
Yes. I mean, my lesson of not counting your money until it is in your bank account and cleared.
Yeah.
So I was working with this older couple, and this was their first house. They were in their 60s, and they were purchasing their first home. Wow. So it was something very, of course, personal, and so I was working with them, and we ended up finding a house, and this was in 2007. Okay, when the market crashed and all of the predatory lending was going on. So we find the house, and our contract kept being pushed back. Well, they had already given their 30-day notice on the lease the house that they were leasing. So they had to move, right?
No.
And so I learned about a buyer's temporary lease.
Ooh, okay.
And so I negotiated with the seller, who was livid at this point because he needed his money to close on his house. He had already purchased his house, so he was waiting on those funds. But I ended up, convincing the listing agent to talk to him and let my buyers move in the house. Okay. We did a buyer's lease. Okay. Whoa. So the buyer moved in the house. My little elderly couple.
Oh my God.
They moved in the house, and we finally got to the closing table. Okay. We sat down, signed documents, the seller signed, my buyer signed, and we were waiting on funding. And an hour passed. And 2 hours passed. Mm-hmm. Nobody was answering the phone at the mortgage company.
Oh, my God.
Finally, the title company got in touch with them, and they lost their funding license and got shut down before they could fund the loan.
Wow.
Do you hear me?
Okay. So we're going to have a vote. Who has the best story? Oh, my God. That is crazy.
Yes.
Beat that one.
I'm not saying I can beat it.
I don't want to beat that story.
It was terrible. So we had to inform the seller, and we had to find another lender. We had to find another lender and do the loan. Stay in the house? They got to stay in the house. I mean, we ended up closing eventually. Yeah. But it was 30 days later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have your story?
I don't have it yet.
Okay, so boom. So boom, I'm a new agent, right? And you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
Okay. And so what I didn't realize was there was a limit to the amount the buyer contribution to the contributions that a buyer can have.
On
whatever.
On both.
It's a limit. There's a limit to what they can have, right? So we negotiated with this new construction, so they gave them money. And I was the second realtor for this client, right? She was like, he's not doing anything. I was like, I'm gonna stand up for you, right? So we did. And I did a really good job at representing her, right? And so she said, well, he was gonna do it at or he was going to give me some money back or do it at 2%. I was like, oh, look, sis, I don't do all of that. Like, nah. And she was like, okay. And she moved on. But she kept bringing it up throughout the transaction about how this guy was going to give her money from his commission. And so I was like, you know what? She keeps bringing it up. I'm going to, I forgot how much I gave her, but I gave her something. It must have been like $2,000. I don't remember if it was a percentage or what. And so I contributed money too. So I go to title, and it was so close to closing that this is another lesson that I learned, that closing disclosure. That's important, y'all. Okay. So it was so close to closing that they pushed closing through. Hurry. Okay, we could do it. It was a big deal. She had to go out of town. So they really pushed everything. Everything was pushed. All the documents were super last minute. Okay. So she goes in, she signs without me. And, then I call and I'm like, hey, can I come pick up my check? Sure, you come pick up your check. I come pick it up. Y'all know I counted my coin already, right? So I look at my check. It is $2,500 less than what it was supposed to be. So I'm like, okay, something's not right. I look at the closing disclosure. I'm like, oh, hold up. Y'all didn't give me all of my commission. Something's wrong. So I'm calling around. Title company says, oh, yeah, you're right. This is wrong. We have to get it fixed. Now, money's been dispersed.
Oh, no.
Ask me what happened.
What happened?
They not paying you.
What had happened was she had an over contribution to her closing, right? There's limits, and the builder took the difference. So they had given her what they were going to give her, and then I gave her more. It was my money.
So
that pushed it over. So they just took it back on their side.
Right. So they credited less.
They credited less
because it came
there was
from
going back. And
but
I was
there
like,
no communication though to you, and that
doesn't matter. No, contractual contracts matter.
Contracts matter.
Documents matter.
That's right.
You need to be, and it was from that moment on, there's some lessons in real estate that you only have to learn once. It was from that moment on that even if I can't make it to the closing, I'm reviewing all of the documents. You should do that anyway.
Absolutely.
But you're a new agent. So you're just excited about closing, right? I literally cried, period. $2,000. I cried. When you're a new agent, every penny counts. You want your coin, all of your coin. So and I feel like that was an important lesson for me to learn because now I don't have to learn that lesson anymore. And there'll be hopefully very small things that you experience as a real estate agent that you go, okay, I'll never have to learn that again. Very small things.
Yeah, because I will not do a buyer's lease. Will not.
I think he ended up benefiting out of that because at least they were helping him pay his current mortgage.
No. It's never,
I mean,
I'm not recommending it.
I think from a seller perspective, leasebacks are just.
Yeah, I just tell at this point,
we brought back leasebacks when it became a seller's market when they had nowhere to go.
Well,
talked about
a seller leaseback is I understand, but
seller
leaseback, but a buyer,
until we got into this crazy market.
Yeah, but that's where creativity comes in.
They were doing it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I mean, but these are the buyer. This is on the buyer side. Right. But seller leasebacks is common right now.
Seller leasebacks are
right now. Yeah.
But even a buyer leaseback, as a listing agent, it's not a good idea to do a buyer leaseback because for whatever
the deal
reason,
could
we're
fall
talking
through.
way too fast. So what is a buyer's leaseback?
That's
like throwing these documents.
So
Boom.
what is it?
So
means
what is
that
a buyer's
you
leaseback?
allow the buyer to move in to the house that they're buying and pay rent until it closes. So it's a lease.
And a seller's leaseback?
Same thing.
They get to stay in the house until the buyer closes the deal and it funds. And then they pay the buyer to stay in the home longer than,
and I think it's
longer than
60 days or something like that, up to 60 days.
Up to 60 days,
Up
yes.
to 60 days.
Mhm.
So if you're transitioning between homes and your home won't be ready until you can negotiate to have that, right?
Yeah.
But from a seller standpoint, if you let a buyer move into your house before it closes and it doesn't fund and close, there's a such thing as, what's the word? I forget what the word is, but you can't put them out because...
It's a tenant holdover?
Is it tenant holdover?
I think that is the term.
Is that what it is?
Not me knowing everything.
Everything?
Oh, yes. Tenant. It's
what we're not going to do.
Is it a tenant holdover?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to let y'all know that our time is up on this episode.
So we're having too much fun.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pick back up, and I promise we're going to pick back up as soon as we return, and we'll be back shortly.